Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today we are joined by ABC's newest leading lady, the Bachelorette of season 21, Jenn Tran. After charming the nation with her bubbly personality on Joey Graziadei's season of The Bachelor, Jenn has made Bachelor franchise history, being the first Asian American Bachelorette for the franchise. Prior to joining reality TV, Jenn was in the middle of pursuing a career as a physician assistant, which she had to temporarily put on hold to pursue her opportunity as the Bachelorette. We are going to chat with Jenn about her experience on the show, what the process was for her when accepting the opportunity, both personally, professionally, and even financially. We're going to get into all of it, A to Z. Jenn, thank you so much for being on Trading Secrets.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited. So here, some of these questions might be a little bit different, but this is a business podcast. So we'll touch on some of the reality TV, but we're going to touch on some other things too.
Can't promise I'll have answers for everything. So
I got to try.
Okay,
That's my goal. Got to go for it.
Okay,
all right, here we go. First thing we'll talk about.
Okay.
So on the show, we talk a lot about numbers, financial transparency, and like the economics behind things. So we know that your season just premiered.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of curious, like behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Do the producers or executives, do they tell you at all about like the numbers, the success of the first episode that premiered?
Like ratings and viewership
and stuff?
wise?
Yeah.
Not really. I don't think so. No, I haven't heard anything really yet.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously there's Instagram accounts that I kind of follow that kind of stuff, and I've been seeing some stuff like pop up.
Which
Bachelor Data.
Yes.
Bachelor
All
Data.
right.
Yes.
A little shout out to Bachelor
Yes,
Data.
absolutely.
So I actually got my information from Bachelor Data for this
Okay.
podcast. Susanna is a friend of the show. She's been on plenty of times.
Yeah.
She's great. She'll
Good.
love that you just gave her a
Okay.
plug, by the way.
Great. Yeah.
So I got some news for you.
Please tell me.
Congratulations. There's only been 4 Bachelorettes to gain from previous Bachelorette seasons ratings. You are now the 5th in 21 seasons.
Oh,
You're
wow.
the 5th Bachelorette
Okay.
that had a show after a previous one, and there was an increase in viewers. The
Okay.
increase in viewers that she reported to me was 700,000 plus people in that 24-hour span.
Wow.
And you gained 14,728 followers in 24 hours after the premiere, which is more than Joey on The Bachelor. She even said it herself when I talked to her. She was like, it's like kind of comparing apples to oranges because you can't really compare The Bachelor to The Bachelorette,
Right.
but you outperformed it. So,
Crazy.
I mean, you hear those numbers. Did you expect that?
No, absolutely not. I honestly, I think the cards were stacked against me, or so I thought. You know, there was a lot of factors into it all. You know, being a person of color, other people wanted somebody else. You know, nobody really knew a lot about me. All this stuff. You know, there's a lot of factors there. So, I wasn't sure how it was going to do, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, someone that's been in the franchise and was never chosen for the lead, but went through that process. I remember the season that I came off The Bachelorette, there were 4 people, 4 of them,
Mm-hmm.
that at least I know of, maybe even more, that all signed the contract to be the next lead. Okay.
Yep.
So we saw everything on, everyone I think at this point is aware of what happened on Call Her Daddy with some other leads that were considered. And then we heard your response to that.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is my mom has been a viewer of this show since day one. Like I remember sitting on the couch in middle school watching Trista and Ryan with her.
Wow.
And so one thing I told her, we got you coming on, and she's watching the season. She's excited. And one thing she's like, I feel bad though, because I feel as though people were like, oh, it's going to be this person or it's going to be this person.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't think that's the reality of what people expected. And you made that clear on Alex Cooper's podcast. So I'm wondering, going into this, how did that play into just your overall perspective on things? And are you in a position where you're talking to those other people who might have been saying other things that have truth or don't have truth?
Yeah. So in terms of like when I went into filming, it was announced I didn't have my phone. So when I was filming, I was like in the right mindset, I was in my own mindset. So it was good. It was more so when I came back, when I saw all the narratives being spun around and all that stuff, that was like a bit of a disappointment, only because, I'd gone through like this really incredible journey for myself, and I wanted people to be talking about that and being excited about that. And that wasn't the case in the moment. But I think at this point in time, I'm we're all mature. We know what this world is and in this like kind of businessy world. And so, yes, I'm very, very friendly with all these ladies, no matter what, we still support each other.
Mm-hmm. So the season's coming up. I don't know if you could share this or not, but are there any appearances from maybe past contestants or other people that are there and excited to share your journey?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think if you watch the trailer, there are a few people from previous seasons.
Yep.
I don't know if I can say that, but
I don't know.
I can name them.
All
Okay,
right.
yeah. So Trista was
amazing.
on.
She's the best.
Came for a little bit. Charity came.
Awesome.
Daisy and Kelsey came. So I was very, very excited to see all four of them.
Okay. So we got Daisy, we got Kelsey, Trista.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Molly and Jason.
Yes. Oh, I lived in Seattle when I got off The Bachelorette, and Jason's one of the first guys I met.
Oh.
Awesome guy. Yeah. I mean, one of the best. One of the best.
They were both so amazing. I honestly just kept wanting to talk to them when I had met them. So I was excited about that.
Okay, I got another question for you while we're on this topic that can relate to people back home when it comes to like just career navigation and life navigation.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people kind of feel like the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they're not going to get picked. We heard the rumblings. We heard those headlines. You crushed it and your premiere crushed it. What advice do you have for someone back home that like they feel maybe it's imposter syndrome or maybe they feel like the cards are stacked against them? What's the perspective from your side to just keep pushing through? What advice would you give them?
I would say, honestly, tune out the noise. Like for me, I am very easy at not giving a shit what anybody else says and just doing me and doing whatever it takes to get to the place that I want to be. And I think that that's why my season is going to be so special to watch, is because I never really saw myself in this kind of a light before. And so you kind of see my self-growth journey and kind of growing into my own a little bit more, gaining that confidence and just owning my shit a little bit more. And I think that a lot of people are going to relate to that because my season breaks the mold in a lot of different ways. And so I would really say to people, tune out the noise and embrace your differences, because that's what makes you unique. That's what is going to set you apart from other people. And those uniqueness, those unique factors is what's going to give you success in life. You don't want to be like everybody else.
Right. That's so true. Right.
Yeah.
And I think just like when you talk about the noise, there's always so much more of it. And where there's a lot of noise, especially is when you go from being a PA student to then just being put on this platform with all these things coming at you. And then all of a sudden you're on a hot interview with Caller Daddy. You're on Good Morning America. Yeah. You're also on Kelly and Mark's Today Show, right?
Yeah.
So we have known, as someone who's been in the franchise since 2018, we've known Kelly is not a fan of the show, right? But I'm curious, there was clearly some noise in that interview, right? And I think, at one token, she's got some type of perspective to the fact there hasn't been massive success from a love perspective.
Sure.
But at another spot, it's like, it's 2024. Do you know how people are meeting now? Like, why are you having someone come on your show as a guest? This is my take on it. Someone's coming to your show as a guest, and then you're blitzing them for like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
I think you handled it perfectly, especially from someone that has a history of like being against the show. Being in that seat, would you have said anything other than what you said, knowing that some of the noise, what you just referred to, has come your way?
No, honestly, I will say, Kelly and I, it was all in good fun. Like we have this like sarcastic banter. Like I could tell like the vibes, and I didn't take anything she said to heart, and so I think it was all really in good fun, and yeah, I mean, listen, in this day and age, like, is Hinge any better? Is all these dating apps any? Is Instagram DMing someone any better? So I mean, I get it. Some people may not really understand this world, but that's okay.
Yeah, I also think like in a scenario like that, especially like 2024, where I feel like things are more transparent, isn't the obvious answer like, who wouldn't say yes to this? Like who? What do you mean? Like, no, Kelly, I wasn't a famous actor meeting someone on a set. I was a student and got the opportunity to like be on this platform to meet other people, take a little detour for my career and do it. It's like, who would say no to that?
I mean, it was definitely a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe at one point I almost said no.
Yeah.
So
wait, really?
Yeah.
Wait, for what
Absolutely.
reason though?
Well, I was in school.
But you already said yes to The Bachelor.
Yeah, but I promised them I wasn't gonna take another break. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if they were gonna allow me to take another break, because if they had said, "If you take another break, we won't accept you back and you have to
Yeah.
repeat the whole first year," I honestly don't think I would be here today, because PE school is so important to me, and I spent my whole life studying and
Yeah.
and kind of trying to get into PA school. It's hard to get into PA school. So I
Sure.
think that if they had said no, I wouldn't be here today. And there's just so many other factors that come with accepting a position like this. Like, yes, you're in it because you're hopeful that you're going to find somebody, and you're hopeful for the journey because you know that it can work the first time around, right?
Totally.
But there's also factors of, like, you're in the limelight. Do you want to deal with racism? Do you want to deal with your whole life being in the public eye for quite some time, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm a fairly private person, I
Yeah.
like to think. So I wasn't sure. I think it takes really assessing all the different factors and thinking if you're like the right person for it. So
Yeah. So give me, all right, I'm a numbers guy. It's a numbers podcast. So
God,
when they
I'm not a numbers
they
girl.
offer you the opportunity, okay?
Okay.
So it's say you're our girl, we're doing it.
Mhm.
You're the bachelorette. Give me instantly, as you think about it, the live odds. What is the percentage? Give me the number of the likelihood you say no. Like, was it a 10% chance you say no? Was it 50-50? What was the chances you would have said no to be the bachelorette?
I would say it was like 42%.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was like a coin flip for you.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like an instant let's go.
No, because it was school.
Interesting.
School was such a huge factor in my life.
Okay.
And that was kind of the leading decision amongst the other factors. But school, if they had said no, I don't know if I would have flipped the coin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And one of the things you said on episode 1 was my mom gave up medical school to be here when she sacrificed her dream to make my dream.
Mhm.
So I would assume that's something you were thinking about, that she gave up medical school. And so as a result of that, you feel like you couldn't too give up medical school, or is what you're doing now part of that dream?
I could see where you're coming from, and I think probably from
Yeah.
a subconscious level, I probably thought the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
But me going to PA school was never really about fulfilling my mom's dream necessarily. So,
Okay.
in a way, I think it's always for me been about fulfilling my dreams and making
Love
the most of any opportunity that I get. So, is being here today and being the bachelorette a part of me fulfilling a dream for my mom and her sacrifices? Not necessarily, like I wouldn't say that to a T, but she did come here so that I could take every opportunity that I can get,
Yeah.
and do the things that make me happy. So in
Yeah.
a way, also, yes, it is kind of a part of my mom's sacrifices.
I think it's so cool. And by the way,
Yeah.
that scene with your mom and your whole family, it's beautiful. Like, it's touching. It's
you.
beautiful. It's awesome. I think all of America wants more of your mom on TV. So we need more of your family. on
Ryan
TV.
Reynolds likes my mom.
Did you see that?
I
mean, I
saw
know
that.
you saw that
I was
tweet.
freaking
I saw
out.
it. It was incredible.
It was crazy.
Like, I don't know that the Bachelor franchise has seen a tweet from someone at like that level
I
in a
didn't know
long
either.
time.
That was a surreal moment for sure.
We need to do like a coffee date. Ryan Reynolds and your mom, get it on camera.
Please.
Make it happen.
We got to convince him that it's good for the movie, though.
It's got to be good for the movie.
It's really good for
one
the
way
movie
or
if he does
another.
that.
We could. Yeah, I feel like you can make that happen. Okay, so let's go into PA school a little bit.
Yeah.
That was a big decision, right? So you in September, you start filming for Joey's season, correct? Okay. And at that time, again, I got another Bachelor data stat in here somewhere.
Okay.
It was around 19,000 followers that you had on TikTok, I believe.
Yeah.
This is from Bachelor Data directly. September 16th, 2023, you have 19,372 followers on TikTok when you're announced to be on Joey's season.
Mhm.
And it's my understanding that that's how the show found you.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is very, very crazy. I didn't realize that until I'd gotten The Bachelorette and it was announced, and the casting producer that had found me for Joey's season had said, "I'm so happy that I saw your PA school TikToks and that I DM'd you on Instagram because of it." So I had no idea that it was because of my PA school TikToks until recently. But I mean, kind of crazy. I mean, I just really started the TikTok because I saw a market for it. You know, not a lot of people know what PA students do. I like the creativity of it, being able to like create a video and stuff. I like that aspect of it. And honestly, at the time, like it was a side hustle too. Like I knew you can make money off of TikTok, and I'm a PA student. You're not allowed to work. So I said, okay, I'll work for myself and make TikToks. So
you can't say money on this podcast without me jumping on it. Were you monetizing your social media at the 20,000 follower level?
Not a lot, not a lot, but I was getting there. I started getting some traction. And I'm trying to think. I was doing like a couple of deals here and there, like a couple hundred here, a couple thousand here. So like it helps when you're in school for sure.
I think some people back home are listening to this. They might have a couple thousand, they might have 10,000, they might have 20,000.
Yeah.
But then for them to get a DM from ABC's The Bachelorette to say, hey, or The Bachelor, we want you on the show, is like, there's no way. Did you at any point, and I connect this to when Joey called me, he's like, I'm pretty sure this is fake, but The Bachelor DM me. Did you think it was fake? Did you have a moment like that?
Absolutely. It was like, because it wasn't like from the official Bachelor account. It was some casting producer. And it's like, it's not every day that happens. So I was kind of like, I mean, I don't know. I just took the interview. I did it, whatever. And then the interview made it official. I was like, okay, this is like legit. But when I was like offered to sign a contract to go on to Joey's season, and I told my mom and my brother, like they thought I was getting human trafficked. So they didn't think it was real.
Like,
actually? Like I was on the plane flying to LA and my mom and brother were like, do you want us to buy you a return flight? Like, are you sure you're not getting human trafficked?
Oh my gosh.
Or did you like research this company properly? Like the last thing like we could imagine for you is you going on reality TV. Like no way.
Unbelievable. Well, did you get to answer them? Because they take your phone. Everyone knows that.
I was on the flight.
You got to tell them you're good.
Yeah. So I was on the flight and then I called them afterwards too, and they were good. Yeah.
Okay. So you filmed September to November?
Yeah, around.
And how did you get off school? Do you have to go to the dean of the academic program at the PA school? Do you have to ask for a leave of absence? What does that look like?
So I had, there's like a clinical advisor who oversees the clinical year.
Okay.
Because there's 2 separate years in PA school.
What year are you on? Year 2?
I'm in my 2nd year.
And it's a 3-year program,
2.5 for my program. Some are 2, some are 3, mine's 2.5. And so I kind of asked the clinical advisor if this would be appropriate, like if there's any way to work around it, if I could take a break and then come back. And because there's a lot of credentialing to be done when you're doing clinicals in different hospitals and stuff. So there's a lot of moving parts, which is why I thought this is completely impossible.
For sure.
And she was so sweet, willing to work with me. And then I also had to go to the head of the program as well and kind of ask permission from her and tell her that, you know, we kind of have this plan and it's going to work and we're going to graduate at this date and all this stuff. So I just kind of had to be practical about it and kind of give her some dates and reassure her that I was going to go back and that I was serious about it, you know?
Okay. So you finished filming in November.
Yeah.
When does the next, from my days in college, the next semester starts in January? Is it the same thing?
So in PA school and clinical year, every 6 weeks, you're at a different clinical site. You're in a hospital or you're in a doctor's office.
Okay.
And you're basically working alongside the physician or the PA and kind of learning from them for 6 weeks.
Okay.
So when I had come back, I was kind of in the middle of like the 3rd rotation or something. Okay. So I'd skipped out on that and then restarted in December when the next rotation came around.
So you start in December.
Yes.
But then when did you start filming this season of The Bachelorette?
Yeah. So I started in December. I did a psych rotation. Then I did another general surgery rotation for 6 weeks. And then
you're doing this, not to interrupt, but you're doing this while the show's like airing.
While the show's airing. Yeah.
How crazy was that?
Very crazy, but I wasn't like getting recognized at work or anything, which I appreciated. I think that was good, or at least if people did, they were like low key about it and didn't make a big deal about it, which was nice. But it was definitely very weird because my life's on TV. People are learning about my family life, and then I'm also like studying and taking exams and all this stuff. So it was different. It's not normal. It's crazy.
Okay, and then at what point? So you know we're in July now. The first season. Or the first episode of your season has aired. At what point did you start filming?
So it was right around the announcement, right? Back in March. So I was in the middle of another rotation, which was my ER rotation.
Okay.
Like really in the middle of it. And when I got the phone call, it was kind of like, we need you here now. Let's get stuff rolling. And I was like, I literally have an ER shift tomorrow morning. Like I can't.
So before you were supposed to go leave for The Bachelorette, you literally had to be in the ER that day?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes. I was so disappointed in myself because I hate having something planned and then having to like go back on my word for it.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to text the hospital. I was like, hey, listen, and this opportunity is here. Like, are you okay with it? Are you going to hate me? Are you going to disown me as a student? Like, just tell me straight up if you will, like, I won't do it. You know? So it was a hard conversation, but everyone has been so supportive. So to my surprise.
I have a buddy who is a ER doctor, Steve Verdini, shout out. And I know that in that line of work, they pretty much see literally everything. They're supposed to be prepared to expect the unexpected and see everything. I have to imagine whatever doctor or nurse was on shift that day, they've never received a text from a student saying, I can't show up. I'm going to be the Bachelorette.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that's a
gotta
first,
be a first.
and any ER in the entire planet. When you did that though, was there any risk? I mean, I dealt with it. Like my job pretty much said, hey, you've worked here for 10 years. You're doing great. You got 6 weeks of PTO, burn it off, leave of absence after that. You're not paid. You come back, you got a job. Essentially you fuck up, you're fired.
Right.
Did they give you any ultimatums when you went to be the Bachelorette?
Not really, but I think in terms of my school, I think they wanted to know that I was serious and that I wasn't just going to blow them off. And I still had to get my credentialing done on time because there's a lot that goes into that. And I had to be really communicative with them and let them know exactly what day I was coming back and kind of like hold my ground on those kinds of things and just let them in on the process rather than ghosting them and then not telling them when I'm coming back. You know, I just had to be professional about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're making history in the Bachelor franchise. You're making history with your premiere ratings, and life is moving in one direction for you right now, and it is an upward trajectory. You got a rocket on your back. So I looked into this. According to the American Let me do that again.
Okay.
So I looked into this. According to the American Academy of Physician Assistants, the median compensation is up 5.8%. In 2023, PA median compensation increased to $127,000, up from $120,000 in 2022. So those are big numbers. $127,000 is a great living. I will tell you from this podcast, though, there aren't many people that have come from the Bachelor franchise that are making less than that have been on this show, and they're not working full-time in a job like this. I know you've been on other podcasts in Bachelor Nation with leading hosts, and you said you're going right back in the summer. There's got to be some part of you that's like, I can monetize at a much greater level than going back to PA school. What are you thinking there?
Obviously, yes. Like it would be it would be silly of me to not think of that. Like I understand all the opportunities that can come out of this and things that I'm going to be open to, right? But at the same time, I have to stay true to myself and think about what's going to make me fulfilled in life. And so far, for the past 26 years, it's been helping people and being in medicine. So that's not something I'm really willing to give up. I don't think you can put a number to what fulfills you and your purpose. So for me, I probably won't work full time as a PA. And I don't really foresee that happening. I'll probably work part-time as a PA, maybe in the beginning of my career so that I can kind of get my footing in, perhaps. But I'm always going to do both. Like I could see the doors that could be opened here. And yeah, I'm going to chase every opportunity that I can get because it would be silly not to.
It would be completely silly.
I would be an idiot, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do both. And I'm going to try to balance as much as I can. But at the end of the day, I think if I fully dropped PA off and didn't do it, I would be extremely unhappy with myself.
Yeah. There's so many ways to maneuver both of them, and there's so many ways to make impact in medicine by also using the platform they have, right?
Absolutely.
I think yesterday, I saw a gentleman by the name of Dr. Shaw. He's number, 2 or 3 skincare influencer in the world.
Really?
He's a certified board dermatologist. He has places in New York and in Miami, and he can do both. He's an acting doctor while also using his social media presence to create a platform. And I think that exists.
Yeah.
One thing you had said is your passion into medicine and everything like that. A lot of people that have come off this show have had all different career paths. We have pilots, we have all different type of career paths, right? And as a result of that, they come into a seat like this, and some of them straight up say, and some of them don't say, they enjoy it. They're like, I enjoy this entertainment piece. I enjoy there's cameras there and I get to talk in a way that I never got to talk and make an impact. Does this side of the business, like does the entertainment, does the media, when you look at the trajectory, whatever direction it could be, there's a million different directions. Do you enjoy this? Like, is it fun for you?
I would say yes and no. Some parts of it for sure. I think knowing that I am changing people's lives in a different way than medicine is definitely helpful.
Yeah.
But I've never really saw myself as someone who is going to be inspirational. You know, I always felt like I had role models. I never thought that I would be a role model myself. So to be kind of sitting here today and being able to be the first Asian American bachelorette, talk about that kind of stuff and all this stuff and breaking the molds and doing something different than the norm, like I'm excited about that. And that makes me excited to talk about. And it makes me happy to be able to meet new people and to kind of experience a different world than medicine, because medicine is a very, I'm interested in it. It's my passion, but it's also a very concentrated world in which you're not exposed to a lot of creativity and all this other stuff. And I'm someone who has a lot of different passions. So I enjoy being able to kind of like tickle this side of my brain too, you know?
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
3 years from now.
Yeah.
Is Jenn a PA?
Yes, Jenn is a PA.
Really?
She's working part-time.
Okay, part-time PA.
Part-time PA.
Okay.
Maybe she has a medical spa. Maybe she's working in the ER. Maybe she's, I don't know, doing concierge medicine.
Okay, the idea of healthcare for that career track will always be connected to you.
Always, absolutely.
Okay, that's going to transition me into this season, right? So we saw there's a lot of different career tracks here. So I got all the LinkedIn's pulled up.
Oh,
got Aaron, aerospace engineer, Austin sales executive, Brandon real estate broker, Brett. Poor Brett. R.I.P. Brett. Your dad, she takes a sip of tequila.
Brett, he was very, very sweet.
Brett for Paradise.
I would endorse Brett for Paradise.
We know Paradise is coming out 2025.
Next year.
Get fucking Brett Harris on that beach. All right.
I'm all for it.
I went through every single one of these 25 people's LinkedIn profiles.
Okay.
Here's the crazy thing.
Tell me.
I got fucked. On my season, we had 3 NBA players, we had 4 NFL players, we had the founder of Venmo, we had 2 models, Harlem Globetrotter, all that. These are very relatable individuals and professions. When you were talking to each of them, how much, like when in their first, because obviously we know they edit a lot out, but are you talking a lot about their careers? Does that have an impact? Like when you consider the dating hierarchy, if someone is a right fit for you, talk to me about your perspective on an individual's profession, especially when you're meeting them in these circumstances.
Yeah, so I think that when it comes to dating and profession, so on the show, it didn't immediately come up. Or if it was somebody in medicine, obviously that would immediately come up because that's a common ground that you could connect on. And that was great. I love that. But it's not like a requirement for me to date somebody in medicine. I think as connections got stronger and feelings got stronger, of course, I was talking about financials and how much time is your job, like how much time commitment is your job, and how much, not necessarily exactly how much money you make, but you can kind of gauge somebody's success and happiness in their profession, right? And I think that's kind of what matters the most. But then I will be honest and say that there were some people who were like, I'm kind of in between right now. I don't really know what I'm doing right now. And that is a bit of a beige flag for me. You know, that definitely rings something where I'm like, okay, why are you really here?
Totally.
And do you have something set up? Like, are you working towards something, or are you kind of just floating around? And for me, knowing exactly what I want to do and having a path that is so set in stone for me, and I don't know if I could really connect with somebody that isn't, and it's kind of free floating. So in terms of professions and career wise, like, that was kind of a factor for me. Are you passionate about something? Are you dedicated to it? Or are you kind of just waiting around for something to happen?
Give me an example. I think that's, first of all, perfectly said. And I also actually want to make this comment. Are you here for the right reasons has been a thing for 20-some years, right? Or however long the show's been around. The difference is in 2024 is that there's so much more transparency behind the monetization and what people can do with it and stuff. And so that, I assume as the lead has to change your opinion of like what, because now you don't have to like, I mean, of course you have to dissect if someone's there for the right reasons, but you could start to raise a beige flag on the first night, which most people can't, just based on the way they describe what their job is.
Absolutely.
Without like, I guess, I don't know, spoiling anything, either uncut or what we'll see. Give me an example of like what it, like someone that was saying, or maybe someone that got let go night one that gave you a beige example. Because I don't understand exactly what it means when you say floating. Are they saying they're in between jobs? Like, tell me what that looked like.
When I say floating, it's like I'm in between jobs. I just got fired. I'm still figuring stuff out. Or I quit this job and now I'm posting things on Instagram. Yeah, that kind of stuff. It's
Were there those people? I haven't. I looked at their LinkedIn profiles. I didn't look at their Instagram following.
Here and there.
Okay, so there were some social media endeavors on this one.
A couple that I flagged for sure.
Are there any social media endeavor individuals you flagged later in the show?
Yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
That's a good tease right there. Okay. All right. I don't want to get you in trouble or certainly me at this point. So I'm going to let it go at that.
Okay.
But what's interesting is, I'm looking at, again, medical student, creative director, financial analyst, Army Ranger, you know who that is, event planner. So there's a lot of like what I would call, I learned the word normie lately. People normie. There's a lot of normal jobs here happening.
Which is good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll let that go there. I'll dive into that in just a second.
What was your job description?
My job description was actually a funny story. I was a bank. I was boring as shit. I didn't have a cool job. I was a banker. So it's either said banker or senior banker.
Okay.
And then
what
the
did
funny
you go
thing
with?
is I put my title was senior banker vice president. I think they just put senior banker.
Fair.
And then I realized like, wow, this is not good. Like, cause I have a lot of hair gel, super grease. Like I gotta like loose, something's gotta happen.
Yeah.
But then what was nice is they changed from Seattle, Washington, which is where I live, to Buffalo, New York, which is where I'm from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Bennett. Thank you, Bennett, for doing that. Very greatly appreciated.
Oh God.
Okay. Your question totally detoured me into this next thought, which has nothing to do with what I was thinking. But when I came out of that limo, I remember, at least on my back, I was sweating bullets. It was like a blackout moment. I don't remember much just because the adrenaline is so high.
So much.
Well, another
what was your entrance? Can I ask you that?
Well, say it again?
What was your entrance?
My entrance? Okay, no. This is good. So here, I'm going to get business podcast. I'm going to give you a business stat.
Please.
They say that if you screw up a first impression, it takes 17 acts of remedy to make up for a bad first impression.
Really?
17 in the business world. But I think that goes for dating to some extent.
Okay.
Right? Okay, right now, think about your final four.
Yeah.
Don't say them.
Okay.
I don't want trouble here.
Are you just going to read my brain?
Say your final four, okay? All four of them. Did they make a good first impression, yes or no?
No.
No way.
Well, I'm not saying all four of them made a bad one, but they're
How many of the four made a bad first impression? Can I do this or no?
Sorry.
How many of the four made a bad first impression, the final four?
But no names, just numbers wise. Yeah.
Okay. Of the final four, how many made a bad first impression?
3 out of 4.
No way.
Yes.
So you're not a big first impression person.
I think it's so different when you're coming out of a limo and you either have a gimmick or you're either trying to stand out or something. Maybe it's something out of your comfort zone. So yeah, I don't know. I think usually I can peg somebody for who they are at a first impression, but I will say throughout the journey I was very surprised.
Okay.
Yeah.
One comment I have, which is not connected to business, but I did not like the guy who said you should have your nails done. You don't have to respond.
Okay.
I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't know how far he went or what his story is, but you wear your nails however the fuck you want to wear. Okay. On that note, another stat I have from Bachelor Data, if you guys don't follow Bachelor Data, go give her a follow, is that of all your entrances, over 80% of them were gimmicks. I think the number was 84% of all your entrances were gimmicks, which is extremely high when comparing to previous seasons.
Really? Okay.
So a question I have for you is, what are your thoughts on these outlandish gimmicks?
It's funny because I remember thinking during the night that there weren't enough gimmicks.
You wanted more.
I wanted more. I love the gimmicks.
Like, what more did you want?
I don't know.
Paint the picture of the perfect gimmick.
I mean, I think all the gimmicks were great, but like, I don't know.
Give me something.
Something big, like show up on a basketball court or something.
You wanted to be front row at like, I don't know, a big game
or come in skydiving.
Skydive. Wow.
Yeah, like
you got big
right?
You want the extra.
I want the bigger the better. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean,
but I loved all the gimmicks, but I was like, there could be more. We could get more creative.
What did you think of the sports car thing?
It was very interesting.
What define interesting to you? Because we all have different definitions of interesting.
I liked the car. Listen, I love a nice looking car, but when he said penis, I was like, I don't know.
That was
I don't
a
know about this one.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You said the P word yourself. So
I did.
I mean, you said that he used the P word.
He said, yes. I decided that on this podcast, I can say penis.
Yes, you can say that on this podcast. You're welcome to say it. I just wanted to make sure ABC TV permitted that. But you did have someone come in balloons. You had someone come in with, puppies.
Yeah, puppies were great.
But you wanted more.
I would have loved 100 puppies instead of 2. I don't know.
Interesting. All right. We have a bachelorette here with high expectations. I love it. I love the honesty. You also, if you took a look at the numbers, you had 25 people that started, I believe. Mm-hmm. You went down to 18. So you lost about 30% of people pretty quickly. 18 people left. I think when I was on the show, there's about 23 people left. Was there anything specific that led to 7 people going that early or 30% of the cast? Or was it just gut instinct?
Gut instinct every time. I think it was really like, I definitely don't see a future here. There's definitely nothing here, and potential to grow kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Going with your gut. You're killing it.
Thank
you. I absolutely love to see it. I actually have a question that's behind the scenes that not many people can answer this one. I remember standing on those freaking risers.
Oh my God,
it was a form of torture. Okay.
It is.
It was worse than
But you're not wearing heels.
Well, I actually was. I was wearing like boots with heels, kind of like I'm wearing now. See how I got an inch right there? That's a good inch and a half of heel.
You're not wearing a 4-inch stilettos,
I was the shortest guy on the entire mansion, so I had some heel on.
Okay.
And I was on the front row, so I can't even complain about it now. I was on the second row, actually. But I do remember staying there for an exorbitant period of time. And our bachelorette at the time was Becca, and she came in and out. Becca, you're an amazing person, but it had to be 20 times with the names. How did you do overall with the names? Like, did you do like 2, 3, 4 times, 1, 2 times? Like, just your overall take with the names. Did you do a pretty good job?
I think I did a pretty good job.
Okay.
3, 4 times.
So would you do three names at a time?
3, 4, sometimes 5. I was really good with the name.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
5 names at a time is impressive.
Yeah.
That's beyond impressive.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are always curious, like, are the names on the roses? No. It's just different takes. It's called TV. Here we go. All right. So we know that Daisy, we know that Kelsey, we know that Trista are part of the season. I saw an interview that you said you had reached out to Michelle Young prior to the season. What type of advice did Michelle give you going into this season?
So I called her for a number of reasons. I actually watched her season because I had watched Matt James's, so I followed and watched hers.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I could relate to her. And then she's also a person of color, so I wanted a person of color's perspective on what it means to be in the limelight and kind of withstand all the racism. Did she think it was worth it? Did she think that she actually made a change? Did she feel like, even though it didn't end up working out for her, did she still feel like the journey worked out for her, so those are the questions that I had to ask. I had to ask if she thought the feelings were real, if she thought that she could find somebody, and she gave me some really good advice. And ultimately, she didn't like push me to do it, but based on everything that she said, I was leaning towards yes.
Okay. So she's like, you can make an impact.
Yes.
Do this.
She basically told me, you're definitely going to make an impact. Yeah. You're going to have to bear a lot of weight in terms of racism. But at the end of the day, you're making a change and you're working towards something. And as long as you are confident in who you are and that you're willing to stand up for certain things and yourself, then you're going to make it far and it's going to be great. And yeah.
Have you felt that weight?
Have I felt the weight of it all?
That she had referred to that. Like she said, you're going to feel the weight of the racism. Have you felt that weight? You're 2 days after the premiere. Like, has that weight been heavy on you, or what's your overall sentiment?
I think since the premiere, things have been really, really positive so far.
Good.
Before the premiere, I got a lot more racism than I've ever experienced in my entire life, because when you're on social media, you're exposing yourself to millions of people that you don't talk to every day in your life, people from different parts of the country that aren't as diverse and all that stuff, you know, people who are a bit more small-minded. Does it necessarily affect me on my everyday life? No, because I tune out the social media. I put my phone down. I don't read all the comments, but yes, I do get those comments. And I think that in a way, it kind of validates why I'm doing this, is because racism does still exist. And for me, I've gotten a few people being like, racism doesn't exist anymore.
It's just like a ridiculous comment.
Ridiculous comment. And to be able to kind of say like, no, like I do get these comments and here's the proof. And this is why we need change. It's validating in a way.
Good for you. And that alludes to your overall just thought of differentiating, like I can do something different. I am different. I'm going to make an impact along the way. With Michelle, another commonality is, so she was a teacher and then she left the whole teaching profession. Being someone that's in school, did you talk to her about that at all?
Funny enough, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't, because I think I didn't need somebody else's perspective on career-wise, because I already knew what I was going to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Now, so you watched Matt James' season. Have you seen any other seasons before?
Matt James's was the first season I watched fully through.
Okay.
I watched parts of Michelle's. I watched parts of Katie's.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who else. I watched parts of Charity's.
Okay.
And I think that was it.
Before going on The Bachelorette as The Bachelorette, did you connect with anybody else from the franchise?
Not before going on The Bachelorette.
Really?
Yeah.
Did anybody from the franchise try to connect with you?
No, because I think when I was announced, I didn't have my phone.
Okay.
So when it was announced, and people started reaching out, like I came back to a lot of DMs. Yeah.
From people in the Batch franchise?
Yeah.
Like who?
Yeah. Blake Moynes DM'd me.
Blake Moynes.
And said congrats. That was nice.
There you go.
Rachel Recchia reached out.
Awesome.
Charity reached out. A few others too that I'm forgetting to mention, but
great.
Yeah, a lot.
Awesome.
A lot. It's been really, really positive.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody I've had from the franchise that has gone to the fantasy suite level, I've asked them this question. It's not where you think I'm going. It's business wise. When you're in the fantasy suites, you're about to get engaged. You got three people at this point. And well, I'm assuming three people. I got canned right before the fantasy suite, so I wouldn't know. But right at dinner. Yikes. Brutal, right? That's tough. 2.5 months. You can't be. Well, I mean, like, anyway, that's a topic for another combo. All right. So fantasy suites. It's one of the first times that you're with someone you're considering getting engaged to. If you bring them to that point, you get past the dinner, you're definitely considering it. Where they are in the higher ranking, that's up to you. No cameras. It's one of the only times. Do you talk money? Do you talk career?
Yes.
But you say yes. I've interviewed all past Bachelor leads and Bachelorette leads, and almost none of them said that they do. In the fantasy suites, we're not going to talk about how many. We're not going to do anything like that. What are conversations you would try to have, and what do those questions look like when it comes to those topics?
Yeah, I mean, how much school debt are you in? Like, I'm in school debt. Are you okay with that?
Did you ask him that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Because I want to be transparent about me too. I've been in school. Grad school isn't easy. I'm in debt too, and I would never want to end up with somebody who's suddenly like, oh, I can't handle
just
that.
Shocked by it. Good for
you.
You
know, I would never want to lie to anybody, and
By the way,
I don't want to be lied to.
If someone is like running away from your school debt, you should run away from.
That's
them.
also a different. Yeah, that's a different problem.
You should run away from them. So
exactly.
That's a good also. Can you share on Trading Secrets, where we share dollars amount, how much school debt you've taken out?
That is for me and my bank.
Okay, gotta at least ask though.
I appreciate it.
There's a whole lot of student debt in the United States. Yeah. It's a huge issue.
It's a huge issue.
It's price inelastic. It's one of the only products out there where the price of something can keep going up, but the demand keeps going up. So it's something we really have to figure out. So you talked about student debt.
Student debt.
Can I ask you this? And you can decline this, but was anybody adverse to your student debt?
No.
When the cameras weren't rolling?
No, nobody said anything outright, but who knows in the back of their head? I don't know. But no, nobody was adverse to it, which was nice.
What are some other topics when it comes to career?
Let's see. Just like where they're headed. Do they want to continue their career, or do they candidly want to be an influencer, want to take opportunities that this world offers? Like that's obviously something that I wanted to know. I wanted to know the true intentions and that kind of stuff.
If someone told you they were here to ride the wave and see what happens, what's your take? Like, where was your perspective on that?
I think it would definitely raise a concern for me in terms of I'm just here to like figure out if I can do Instagram. Like that would be a concern for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But do I also believe in some people just taking a chance and it ending up well for them and being like the path that they needed to take? Like, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was just something that you keep in the back of your head. And then if other flags raise, then you kind of piece together the puzzle, you know?
I want you to go back to before you signed up to be the Bachelorette, like the day before. Eliminate everything you know now, okay? So don't think about your fiance. She didn't react. I love it. Okay. Just think about before the show. In a perfect world, the way you like dreamed, what did your significant other do for work?
Somebody that doesn't work in medicine. I just think it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much medicine in one household, although it can be a nice common ground. But somebody who was maybe in like the business financy world or like corporate, something where, listen, I want someone to be able to have like the same income as me or higher, because
I respect the honesty. I love that.
Yeah. And I think because for me, it's like if I'm achieving a certain level of income and a certain level of passion in my life, I think I want my partner to be able to match that kind of passion too.
Yeah.
And that's just me. So.
Relationships, I think, in 2024 are a tricky thing, especially as it relates to this. When I had that, the song, I'm looking for a guy in finance, trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes. So I had her on. We talked about it, and it was actually satire on the fact she's like, I'm in New York City, and everyone wants a perfect thing that doesn't exist. That's why I wrote the song. That's why it popped off. So I'm interested, like when you think about like the person that you want to be with, or just like for anyone out there that is single, like when you say like the business perspective or whatever, like what is it that a single person like your age, when it comes to career, are you looking, is it stability that you're attracted to? Is it passion? Is it impact? Like what are some of those things? Because I think that will help a lot of people that are single listening to this.
Stability first and foremost. I've never really had that in my life growing up or dating. So stability 100%, and also the dedication to something.
Interesting. Okay.
I think when you're when you don't put in hard work and you're not motivated, that's so unattractive to me, because I'm so hardworking and motivated that I wouldn't understand it. And so I mean, I would say just look for stability, whatever that means to you.
I love it. Okay. This is a tough question.
Okay.
I'm preparing you. It's a little bit of a tough one.
Haven't they all been tough?
You can, you're just a star. You're the easiest person I've interviewed. I've had literally 15 interviews in the last 36 hours. You're the easiest person I've interviewed because you're just good at what you do.
That's nice.
Okay. The franchise. Okay. There's a lot of love and there's some breakup. And there's a lot of success that comes with it. And we've all seen it. And there's been a lot of headlines recently in a lot of different directions. Something that connects to this podcast, business and thinking through finances, is the overall theme of prenups.
Okay.
As someone who's just finishing their journey, we don't know what happened, but we know there's a couple curveballs at the end.
Yeah.
But majority of the couples end up engaged. The theme of prenups, where do you stand with a prenup?
Yeah. With prenups, like I've always thought about this. And if I were to ever get to that point in my life, it's funny because in previous relationships, I was so offended by them.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, you think we're going to break up? And that's kind of how I viewed it. And it wasn't until somebody kind of opened my eyes to it. And it's like, it's not just about the financial standpoint. If you break up, it's also a lot of other things too. I believe, right? I'm still kind of like, I don't know too much about it, but it's like, if you die, like what's going to happen to your money and all this stuff too, right?
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot more to a prenup than just, we're going to split this money when we get divorced or whatever. And also in this day and age, just being a woman and being motivated and dedicated and having kind of my own lifestyle and stability, like I want to be able to secure that and not have any factors to that.
Yeah.
So I think prenups are good.
Okay.
And I'm all for it. I think it's a smart decision.
Yep.
And I don't think that it necessarily just means you're preparing for divorce. I think it's also like the discussions that you're having during a prenup, right?
Yeah.
Is like, if you're on the same page about it, I think that it's even better for a partnership is if you talk about those things and if you're on the same page, because otherwise you might not have some of those conversations, and then kind of down the line you're not on the same page, and that can be tough. So.
You nailed it. It's like, at least in my opinion, you nailed it. I think with finances, love and money is a thing, right?
Yeah,
and so if you don't talk about it, it creates gray area, and all the statistics point to that gray area creates confusion. Confusion equals resentment, and then leads to a breakup. So, and my personal thing of prenups are like, every state has them, so they have their own laws. So why not talk about it? It forces you kind of have that conversation.
Yes.
So
it's the conversation part of it, I think, that matters the most. You just want to be on the same page.
And like in general, you want to protect your partner and you want to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
And like, you have a lot to protect. So go prenup.
Yes.
Should things work out with whoever you may or may not end up with. All right, let's play a little game. You said beige flag. I'm going to say red flag, green flag. You could say beige flag.
We all love these games.
Okay. These are probably a little different than the other games you played. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll talk about this. You sit down, someone's in your fantasy suite, or you're getting serious with them. They tell you they have massive student debt. Okay. They have student debt. You have student debt.
It's tough. Okay. Yeah,
Red flag,
sure.
Beige flag, green flag. What's it look like?
I'm going to follow you up with this. What is their occupation? Do they have an occupation?
Okay.
Are they working towards something?
Okay. So your perspective, I think this is going to lead to the answer, is if the debt is aligned with a profession that has historical income earnings, it would be a good thing.
Yes.
Okay. If you have massive historical student debt, but you're not doing anything correlated to that, red flag. Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to know the major. You're a major person.
Absolutely.
Give me the major. What are you pursuing? I like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Red flag, green flag, beige flag. You go on your first date. He asked to split the check.
Red flag. You got to go. I'm a traditional woman.
Okay, I love it.
What are you trying to say? You're not gonna pay for my 5-cent meal? Are you
I like it. We had Serena Kerrigan on the podcast. She said, first 3 meals, if you don't pay for me, we got an issue. What do you think about that? That's what she said.
First meal, you're not paying for me. I'm not having a second date with you.
I like it. But do you have an expectation for the first 3, or just like, let's get the first one through?
I would say until you're officially seriously dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Then we can split the bill.
I like where you're at. So, green flag, red flag, beige flag. You're in the fantasy suite. He tells you he works in finance.
Green flag, sure.
Real estate.
Green flag.
Okay.
These are great professions.
I'm going to keep going.
Oh, God.
Aerospace engineering.
Green flag.
He's a sales executive.
Green flag. I don't know.
He's a sommelier. We already know red flag. He's gone. Oh, the sommelier, unreal. Guy, call me. What's his name? Okay, Dakota.
Oh, my God.
I want to learn more. Okay. Red flag, green flag, beige flag. Startup founder.
Green flag.
Medical student.
Green flag.
Army Ranger veteran.
Green flag.
Wow. Algebra teacher.
Beige flag. Oh my God, the teachers are going to come for
That might be him and not the actual. All right, let me ask you this one. Thomas A., Mr. Toronto here, physiotherapist. I'm not asking about Thomas A., physiotherapist. You hear that?
Green flag.
Green flag.
Green flag.
Honestly, Jen, I think we did it all here. I think you're a star. I think you're going to crush everything you do.
Thank you.
The numbers show it. It's going to continue to show it. Okay, you got to leave us with a trading secret. So you can't learn it from a TikTok tutorial. You can't learn it from a YouTube or professor in college.
Okay.
You can only learn it from Jen, given you've had a wild track, like where you've come from and where you are today. And it's like one lesson you've learned along the way that could only come from your experience. So it's one trading secret you could leave us with, and you could take a minute to think about it because we could edit it out. But it's a Jen trading secret for all the people that look up to you.
I think I would say not to do anything that isn't authentic to you. Because if you start down a road just because the money is attractive or because the fame is attractive or because something else is attractive but not because you're passionate about it, then you'll end up in a place where you don't recognize yourself or you're unhappy.
Yeah.
So I would say follow things that fulfill you and that you think are going to be that are authentic to you, but don't do things for other people.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I think as someone who owns a talent agency, I've seen every single show in the last 5 years and every single star come off the show. And I'm saying this, and I'm not saying because you're in front of me. You have so much authenticity in just your natural confidence. And so many people come off these shows and it's like, you feel like you're talking to them, you want to shake them and be like, come on, like, just talk to me, like, be a real person. You so naturally have that. Don't like ever lose that. Aww. And the only thing I'll follow up with for someone back at home that they really struggle to like find their authentic self.
Right.
What advice would you give them before we wrap?
I would say to try anything and everything then at that point. I would say if something, well, I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself. I don't know. But I would say to be open to things and to jump at any opportunity.
I like it.
Yeah.
Barbara Corcoran, she had 22 jobs by 23, got fired by 22 of them. Wow. On the 23rd, it was real estate. So it's like you try something. That's how you can find your best self.
True.
So,
yeah.
But Jenn, you've been a trooper. You have been unbelievable. We're excited to watch the rest of your season.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being on Trading Secrets.
Thanks for having me. This was great. This was easy.
All right. I love that.
I thought you were going to be tough on me, Jenn.
No, I was easy.